What's up everybody? As usual, we're going to be talking about anime figures. So if you want to do some window shopping with me, we're going to be taking a look at some of the news and pre-orders for the month of May. First off, we got confirmation that Spy Family Nendoroids are being made. I'm sure that's exciting for a lot of people, including myself. But aside from that, the only Nendoroid that really caught my eye this month was the Astro Playroom Nendoroid. Future me here with some breaking news. Good Smile is re-releasing all 5 of the Konosuba Nendoroids. They're some of the most popular Nendoroids, and it's great because you don't have to pay aftermarket prices like I did for Aqua. Especially if you're trying to get Kazuma, because he has only been released once back in 2018, so his aftermarket was a little crazy. Good Smile also put up for pre-order the Wandering Witch Elena Nendoroid, which I really like. I'm a big sucker for oversized witch hats. I love that she can ride her broom, her deadpan stare, and she's even got a little drunk face with like a little wine glass. But the big caveat is that she's going to be a 7,900 yen Nendoroid. If she was 5,000, I think this would be a no-brainer, but at 7,900, I'm a little bit on the fence. But anyways, back to the Astro Nendoroid. Astro's Playroom is a game included on every PlayStation 5, and honestly, it's one of the best games on PS5 in my opinion. It's a very cute Nendoroid, it's very Wall-E-esque, but despite how much I like Astro's Playroom, I don't think it's really worth it. The extra faces you get aren't too crazy, and the accessories are just a coin, some wires, and the effect on his jet boots. Now, if you're a fan of quintessential quintuplets, this may be good or bad news, but they are releasing variants of all their pop-up parades. Since the movie is coming out, these are updated designs, which look a lot better in my opinion. A lot of these, the expression and hair sculpt is different, and the colors are just a lot more vibrant. They just seem a lot higher in quality, so if you're someone who bought the previous set, I can understand you being a little salty. If you ever want to supersize your pop-up parades, the first XL for Lucy will go up for pre-order on the 27th for the low price of 25,000 yen. We'll also see the pop-up parade Ls on the 27th, which I'm a little more interested in, especially the Berserk figure. We also got another Madoka Magica pop-up, so we'll probably get every girl from the series. I'm a big fan of big swords, and I said I was going to order this previously, but slime just didn't really click with me, so I think I'm going to skip out on this one, but I do want more figures in business suits. Fortunately for me, this prize figure of Lloyd has a suit. This is a noodle stopper by Sega. There's also one of Yor sitting down to go with him, and I think they would look really good on a shelf, and since they're prize figures, they're really cheap. So I'm considering getting them, but then I saw this Sega prize figure of Gojo, which just looks absolutely lazy. It kinda looks like a bootleg, especially the face, so I might reconsider on the Spy Family ones. But if you're looking for more shonen prize figures, especially Jujutsu Kaisen, I think Banpresto makes really good ones. Like this new one of Maki, it just looks really dynamic, especially when you compare it to the pop-up parade, which is more expensive, especially after pop-ups raise their price. Banpresto also has this Inu figure of Kaguya, very tempting if you're watching Season 3, still one of the best animated rom-coms. But if you're on a budget or you just don't want to spend a lot, I think Taito still makes the best prize figures. Like looking at these prototypes, even if you don't like Rem, I think this looks absolutely amazing. The base and the pose are very creative, so it just seems very natural. Their Sleepy Miku figure is also very colorful, especially with the hair. And this is something I haven't seen before, but Taito is also making a Shinobu figure, but it's also a bookmarker, so the figure looks like it's flying off the shelf. It's very unique in that sense. Unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to be colored, so if you're good at painting, this might be a little fun project, but it does come with a stand, so you don't have to put it on a bookshelf. Furyu also showed off some prize figures like this Miku design that I think is very unique for a bunny. I love the kicks. But their other figures looked pretty bad, like Yor, mainly the face. I think it just looks very off. Same thing with Edward and Roy from Fullmetal Alchemist. I think the faces just look a little uncanny. If you're looking for some mid-range figures, they are re-releasing these JoJo statues. They're like 6 or 7 inches tall. But this is one to consider if you're not a fan of the posable action figures that JoJo usually gets. But as cool as Jotaro is, personally I'm saving my money for Jolene. But if they made one of these figures for Joseph, I would definitely get it. There's also a Star Platinum to go with Jotaro though, so together they would set you back like $100. This one made me a little sad because I just bought the Pop-Up Parade for Nobara, but this is a Figuarts Zero figure by Bandai Spirits, and if she's like Yuji, she's gonna be around that 5,400 yen mark or 42 USD, and I think at that price it's an absolute steal for everything that you get with this figure. I think I'm gonna have to get it, but if Nobara's not your thing, they also have one for Megumi, who looks like he also comes with like a crazy face version. Kotobukiya had a bunch of updates this month. We got to see the prototypes for the VTuber figures they've been working on. But since I don't personally watch any of these VTubers, I'm just gonna go off their designs alone. First up from Hololive, we have Subaru. She looks like she's having a lot of fun, and you can just kind of tell she's an energetic character. And I really like what they did with the hat, it's just kind of popping off. That, in combination with the pose, just makes her seem like a very bouncy and happy person. I'm sure this is gonna look great once it's painted. Then we got Shion, who is also colored. I think the yellow here does a lot. It really stands out against the black and purple, and I think the witch hat looks pretty good as well. In terms of just raw character design, I think this one's my favorite. I can't wait to see this one colored, especially her little ghost friends. Then we have Niji Sanji VTubers. I really like the one on the left, I think the red just does a lot for me. Then we have Kazuha chilling in his gamer chair. Maybe I should buy myself a gaming chair before I buy a figure with one, otherwise I'm just gonna get jealous. But he looks very cozy. I always like figures that use furniture or props as their base. Back in February, one of the most surprising announcements was that they were making Bishoujo figures of Optimus Prime and Megatron. Personally, I'm all for weird and wacky figures. We previously saw the prototype for Optimus, but now we get to see it for Megatron. And I think these would just be kind of fun to have in a collection. It's just silly to try to explain why Optimus is a human and also a girl. We also got to see the Bishoujo art for Thor and Loki, which is really good timing, especially with the new female Thor movie coming out. We also got to see Batgirl, or Barbara Gordon. Maybe she'll be in the second Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. Continuing with their other Jujutsu Kaisen figures, we have one for Toga. Nothing too special about this one, but they did announce more Pokemon figures. I think they're some of Kotobukiya's best stuff. I've always loved the base evolution of Gen 5, but I totally forgot that's what the male trainer from Black and White looks like. His hair is so absurd, he looks like he could have a Pokemon on his head. Shield Hero kind of fell off for me, but I think this is the best Philo figure. A lot of her other figures go into lolicon territory, but this one looks really cool because she's like ready to spring into action, and she also has a very strong and confident expression. I would definitely say pick this one up if you're a big fan of the series. The Call of the Night one seemed really ambitious when they showed off the concept art, but actually seeing it now, I'm not really sure how I feel. I think this might look good, but only like from certain angles. From the side, it just kind of looks like sludge or an oil spill coming out from her coat. But at least Nazuna looks pretty good, and I guess that's what really matters at the end of the day. I think the big deal breaker will be how much they're gonna try to sell this for. Kotobukiya is usually on the cheaper side of scale figures, but they really threw me for a loop this month. This must be the SSR of figures because it's so rare for Kotobukiya to charge more than 20,000 for a figure. Don't get me wrong, I still instantly pre-ordered it, but it's like double what other similar Kotobukiya figures cost. I assume the main reason it costs so much is because of all the patterns they had to put on the clothing and the umbrella. And she's even more expensive if you try to get the exclusive Kotobukiya store faceplate. But maybe they know that Fate Go and gacha players have spent so much money on waifus that they can just keep milking them. On the flip side, we have the first Mystical Melody figure. This is Kotobukiya's new line where they develop music and backstory for these figures. And I would have never have guessed that this would have been cheaper than Artoria. Like when they first shown off the concept art, I thought this was gonna be an absurd amount for such an ambitious figure. But after comparing them side by side, I think the base is extremely disappointing. The crystal just looks like a cheap plastic toy. It's kind of hard to see the flowers, it just doesn't have a lot of color variety to it. It's just really weird because I think they did a good job with the wings, but I don't know why they couldn't do the same effect on the base. And I don't know, I just think the face doesn't look right. Maybe they're hoping your eyes are just focused on something else. but I don't think I would mind this being more expensive if it could look like the art. So while I was initially very excited for this figure, I'm definitely skipping it now.
皆様こんばんは。私はプライムワンスタジオの新ブランドプリズマウィングのナビゲータープリズムです。
Like Kotobukiya, Prisma Wing is embracing the future and using VTubers for figure announcements. But they showed off a wedding dress figure for The Detective Is Already Dead, a Shui figure from the No Game No Life movie, these sewn doll-like minifigures of Resident Evil, with a bunch of them for Jujutsu Kaisen. They also said they're working on figures from Yuru Camp, Overlord, Konosuba, Railgun, Made in Abyss, and Shikamori. And then we're getting figures for a series that doesn't get enough love in my opinion. We're getting 2 figures for Golden Kamui, we're getting Sugimoto and Ogata. We're also getting a quintessential quintuplets figure with all 5 of them sitting on this fancy couch. Their final announcement was an elaborate figure of Shadow House with them on a staircase. A lot of Prisma Wing figures are really cool, but it's hard for me to be excited for them when they're on the pricey side. Most of their figures are 20,000 yen plus. Their Shiro figure was over 30,000 yen, but I do quite enjoy looking at them. In other news, Belfine has a very precious little figure from Sakuna of Rice and Rain. It just has a very unique art style and it's just very aesthetically pleasing overall. But moving on from Sakuna, we have Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen, this one being made by Eastream, who are known for their more pricey figures, but I think this one really stands out from the way the shirt tears and you can still see the little bits and pieces of like the zipper on everything. Though somebody pointed this out on Reddit and now I can't unsee it, but he has no nipples. Then we have this maid bunny by Medicos. This is from the series The Maid I Hired Recently is Mysterious. And while this figure seems a little risque, ironically when I read the first volume it seemed pretty wholesome, but it's also getting an anime, which the trailer changed the title to My Recently Hired Maid is Suspicious. Mega House is also showing some more stuff on the 27th and the 3rd. Their Kakashi figure also went up for pre-order. It comes with a light up base, but there is one that's a little bit cheaper if you don't want to get the lights. But I feel if you're going to spend that much on this figure, you might as well go super flashy. The Toga figure by Spirit Tail is up for pre-order and she turned out amazing, just not for your wallet. But it's very colorful, lots of little fun details all around. The chains also have a very nice finish to it. Personally, I'm not a big Toga fan, but if you are, I think this figure is probably the best one out there. I thought Furyu just made bad faces for their prize figures, but the one for their Ghost in the Shell figure also looked pretty bad to me. On the other hand, their penguin drum figure looked really nice, but what also would have been nice is if they include the penguins. If you look at the one made by Alter back in 2013, the penguins just add so much charm and personality to it. Belle Dandy got a figure very fitting for a goddess. She's standing on a pedestal and it has a nice little sakura flower swirl on it. This might make a good little Christmas gift, but this Chika figure comes out in December. It also comes with adorable minifigures of Ishigami and Ino. Though if you're gonna order this, I'd be a little hesitant because the manufacturer B-Box, all their figures are still in pre-order, at least on Amiami, so I don't know about their quality. When I see this figure of Chizuru, I just think of the strawberry candy, the one that grandma would always give you. If you don't have enough Evangelion waifus, you can get Lilith. This is 15 inches tall or 40 centimeters. Definitely recommend this one if you're into legs. But speaking of legs, it still bums me out that Rindo doesn't have any other figures besides the Freeing Bunny, but she's getting a re-release, but the bare leg version. And honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with it if they also released the tights version again. Freeing also dropped a big bombshell this week with the Azure Lane New Jersey Bunny. It's gonna cost 66,000 yen, which is like 2.5 times the price of the Mira Bunny, or double their other Azure Lane figure for North Carolina. And it might be because the hair sculpt is a lot more complex, and the fact that they included a stripper pole, but I don't think those two are enough to warrant such a price increase. I think Freeing is committing highway robbery here, but if it wasn't for that price, I think this is a very gorgeous bunny, and I really like her little smug smile, and I'd be very tempted to make this my first bunny. But if you're sick of all the regular bunnies, Vertex has this cool sci-fi mecha bunny. There's also a limited edition with a troubled face part and quote-unquote natural chest piece, if you're feeling like a degenerate. But best of all, it comes with a fancier base, and while it's not a scale figure, it's 40 centimeters tall or 15 inches, so it's a pretty good size. But another good size is the chicken thighs on this 1/6 Ryza figure. That company is really living up to their name. It really makes you wonder if those thighs are GMO. There are so many great Saber figures now, but if you want one in a plain white dress, here you go. The Executioner figure is also up for pre-order, and I think the hair sculpt is just fabulous. The limited edition version also comes with a smiling face, and it's awesome that it only costs like $4 more. I wish other companies were like that. I love when things put a spin on classic fairy tales like Alice in Wonderland, and out of nowhere this figure popped up on Amiami. And from a distance, it looks really good, especially for the price. But if you look close up, she has this like really bad seam line on her clothes, and that's because she's actually a cast-off figure, which is perfectly fine, but I'd rather just have a separate body piece you could swap out, rather than having a jagged line on her clothes. Thankfully for my wallet, the thing that's stopping me from buying this is it's by a new company called TB Company, and as far as I'm aware, this is their very first figure, so it'll be interesting to see the final product. Astrum Design also has this 1/6 scale figure, a little on the pricey side, and that's because it's made with resin, though I think most people would prefer it if it was just ABS and PVC plastic and it was just cheaper. I think most people only care about resin if it's like a full-blown statue. But I did find it funny that she had a knockoff Nintendo Switch. There are two reasons why I can see Supersonico being so popular, but aside from that, I don't really understand her appeal, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask. Another little surprise was this model kit by Kotobukiya, but it sold out almost instantly, but it looks very high quality for a model kit. Artoria Lancer also got a Figma. You can also pay an extra 10,000 yen for the horse, but I really like the horse. If you want to be the coolest kid on the block, you can get this 1-to-1 sword from Dragon Quest. There's another remint set for Kirby that's really tempting, but I'm already way over budget. Mega House also had this cute mini 4-box set of Spy Family. I love Yor doing that Chun-Li kick, and I think this is the first Damien figure I've seen, and it really tries to play with the perspective there, which is kinda neat. There was also this cute little mecha bear tank, and this set of animals going to the urinal. I really want to display the bear one next to a bottle of Coca-Cola. There was also this giant creepy vinyl figure that cost like $100. Or you could use the money to pre-order these Figuarts minis of Elden Ring. Though personally, I'll probably save my money if they ever make a nice Malenia figure. But the thing that personally got me excited this month were the Guilty Gear announcements. What better announcement for the month of May than to see May actually get painted, and I think she looks really good, and I hope this sells really well because I would love to get some of the male characters. But at the very least, we got announcement for 3 more female characters, but Prisma Wing will be making Ramlethal, who we also know is getting a Nendoroid. They're also making a Dizzy figure, which I guess shouldn't be too much of a surprise. She's one of the most popular characters in Japan, and I believe she's the only Guilty Gear character to get a Nendoroid before Ram. But I have complete confidence Prisma Wing will do a good job with these. But the best and worst news is that we're getting a Baiken figure, who I believe is the most popular character in the West for obvious reasons. And if she wasn't big enough, they're making her a 1/6 scale. And I didn't think this day would ever come, but it also comes with some tragedy because it's made by Union Creative, and I guess it's karma because I've talked a lot of shit about them. But if they do a good job with this, I will forgive them. I really hope they don't ruin it. Last but not least, we have a bunch of Chinese related figures. You have a gorgeous figure from Amioji. He's a 1/4 scale, and he also has a more expensive version with a fancy background. Senhime also went up for pre-order, another 1/4 scale and my personal favorite Amioji figure, but she's just too dang expensive. And then we have one of Shiranui, another beautiful figure, and I was planning on ordering this, but then I ended up buying an Amioji figure right before she went up for pre-order, so I don't have the money for her. But the design on her fans and the little butterfly effects are just mesmerizing. It took a while, but these My Aethelus figures went up for pre-order. a very solid price for the figures, but since she's part of a set of 3, for me it's kinda all or nothing with this set. Chinese companies really like their big ballooned foxy ladies. I did really like this one by Good Smile Shanghai. This Azure Lane one is pretty cool, that is until you see the deluxe version. This one is insane. I really want to see this one painted, but the in-game art is so hot. It's freaking magma everywhere with these robotic dragons. But on the flip side, there was also a cute chibi maid, though I think those cat ears are a little too small for her head. There was also this crazy solo leveling statue, still in concept art phase though. A Girls Front Line figure with a cute little cat robo-dog. DC Tier, the one we mentioned last month, also has a bunch of animal girls. And finally, we have some spicy max level maids from this company called Abyss's Works. But that's everything that kind of stood out to me this month. Let me know if there was one I missed that you're excited for, but as always, thanks for watching, subscribing would be awesome, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye bye!